Hi there, I'm Cherie.
And I'm Chris.
And we are your hosts at the Mobile Internet Resource Center.
So this is our annual recap of the past year of 2018 and a look towards 2019 and all the exciting new technologies we see coming down the pike.
Well, this isn't comprehensive. This is going to be a quick recap. We have a 10,000 plus word article that goes along with this video that goes into far more details than we're going to attempt to cover.
So consider this the highlight reel.
So if you go to mobileinternetinfo.com/2018 and follow along, you'll get a ton more of the specific information on a lot of the stuff that we're going to recap here. So let's move forward and dive into the worlds of cellular, Wi-Fi, satellite, and some of the trends that we're seeing coming forward for 2019.
So much exciting stuff out there.
Cellular data still remains the top way that RVers and cruisers keep online in the US. 2017, we saw a lot of the carriers bring back unlimited data. 2018 seemed to be the year that the carriers readjusted what unlimited meant to try to balance consumer demand with their available spectrum still available in an LTE-based world. Now, we end the year with the biggest story, which is Verizon bringing back an actual unlimited data plan that you can use on mobile hotspot devices and data-only devices. It was a prepaid plan. It is still available as of this recording, and we still see it remaining available for the foreseeable future, hopefully. At just $65 a month with auto pay that you can legitimately use on a hotspot is incredible. It's great to have this option back. For so long, we haven't had an easy way to get Verizon unlimited data, and this is a top option. Sure. Now, all the other carriers adjusted their unlimited offerings throughout the year. They're all making up new words to make unlimited seem even better. They're adding on words like enhanced and premium and more. That's one of the biggest shifts we've seen is them renaming unlimited again. AT&T did discontinue their mobile hotspot plan. So they had a plan that worked as unlimited data on hotspots. They discontinued that this year. They no longer offer that for new customers. And they continue to grandfather them in, although at the end of the year we see them adjusting the terms on some of the business plans, and we don't know what they might be doing with consumer plans going forward. T-Mobile discontinued their Unlimited Plus International plan, which enabled unlimited hotspot off of smartphones, and then they quietly reintroduced it towards the end of the year. Sprint started heaping on tons of unlimited hotspot data onto their unlimited smartphone plans. They're capping it now at 50 and 100 gigabytes on various plans. That's a lot of usable data for hotspot at high speed on Sprint's network if Sprint meets your needs. Now, there are a lot of other changes in the industry. We saw some other plans come and go. Verizon also introduced their new Visible plan, which is unlimited on-device data on an iPhone that enables unlimited hotspot use, all capped at 5 megabit per second. It's been a very interesting option that a lot of people are jumping on. Google Fi got more interesting this year. Now that's Google's MVNO that combines Sprint, T-Mobile, and US Cellular on one device, and hotspot data is available on it. It's a very interesting option, especially for international travels, because roaming and domestic data are treated the same price-wise. Some of the other interesting stories in the year is we are actively tracking a potential merger between T-Mobile and Sprint. Word is that with the government shutdown, the review of that might be delayed a little bit, but that is still on track to potentially being approved in early 2019, and that could change the industry and how we look at the carriers. Lots of other stories that we're tracking. Make sure you get up to date on those in our guide.
So on the technology front, cellular networks have been evolving at an incredibly rapid pace over the past year as what is known as LTE Advanced Pro or Gigabit LTE technology has begun to be deployed both in the latest flagship devices and finally coming out to a lot more cell towers. So cellular devices, their peak theoretical speeds keeps going up and up and up, and actually some devices in some places are showing speeds 200-300 megabits per second in real world conditions if you're really lucky, and it's actually not all that uncommon to find places where the latest devices can get speeds over 100 megabits per second. It's pretty amazing. All thanks to technologies being deployed like 4x4 MIMO, that's 4 antennas inside a device like this, 256 QAM, more LTE advanced bands being carrier aggregated and combined. So technology keeps getting better on the LTE front. coverage keeps getting better too by carriers pushing out more LTE bands. Some of the big areas of progress across 2018 in this was T-Mobile's LTE band 71. This is their 600 megahertz spectrum that they acquired by basically bulldozing a whole bunch of UHF TV channels. Now, over 1,000 cities and towns that have T-Mobile band 71 coverage. Really improves T-Mobile's coverage map, but you have to have one of these latest devices that supports band 71 to benefit. On AT&T's front, AT&T has been pushing LTE band 14. This is the new FirstNet public safety spectrum that AT&T has the rights to deploy nationwide. Again, this is focused on public safety, but AT&T can use it for regular customers, but you have to have an LTE band 14 compatible device, which is still very, very rare. So something to look forward to, and your next upgrade perhaps is suddenly you'll get more AT&T coverage as they've built more expressways in the sky. All of the carriers have been making progress towards pushing what they can do with existing LTE, but all the hype and excitement is around everybody ramping up. Oh, 5G is coming. This is the 5th generation of cellular. What are we going to do with it? When is it here? Who's going to be first? And as we ended 2018, it was all about the carriers trying to claim some bragging rights. Verizon in October got to claim that they were the world's first to deploy a commercial 5G network by rushing out a pre-standardized fixed residential service in just parts of 4 cities to a very, very limited audience. And then AT&T similarly got to rush out to be the first mobile 5G network to deploy in North America by rushing out a 5G hotspot in parts of 12 cities, but in a very, very limited deployment. We'll see more of this as we ramp into the first half of 2019, and we'll see a lot more people claiming for bragging rights and the first of this and the first of that, or incredible record speeds and things as 5G technology starts to ramp up, but it won't be till basically the tail end of 2019 before 5G starts to get interesting, and then as we head into 2020 is when 5G starts to become mainstream. So don't rush out unless you want to be on the bleeding edge. Don't rush out to grab on to any of these first generation 5G devices. They'll be obsolete basically immediately. So some other news and developments on the cellular front of the past year is network neutrality rules. So this is the rules that cellular carriers have to treat data on their networks impartially, whether it's coming from a partner or a non-partner. They treat all data the same. The network neutrality rules at the federal level are finally fully gone and repealed as of mid-2018, but the states are fighting back and are passing state-level network neutrality regulations, and now the courts need to decide where the FCC's ability to regulate at the federal level and the state's ability to regulate at the state level, where that dividing line is. So the fight over network neutrality is very complicated, still ongoing. Cable and cellular and internet is basically getting really merged and really muddled together. Network neutrality kind of lets them play that out in interesting ways, and both good and bad for consumers. So we'll see how that pans out.
All right, the other way that RVers and cruisers stay online is using public Wi-Fi sources, either using campground or marina Wi-Fi networks, or public ones that you might get at a restaurant, a library, a motel, or somewhere that you encounter along in your travels. There hasn't been a lot of development in equipment this year, but there's a lot of announcements that are coming soon. Both WineGuard and Wi-Fi Ranger did release new products this year as promised that integrate in cellular and Wi-Fi together. And we're seeing a new kind of trend. The RV manufacturers seem to have picked up that consumers want to have internet options in their RVs. So more and more of them are teaming up with OEM distributors to have equipment integrated into the RV as well as in home automation systems. Seeing a lot of announcements from Wi-Fi Ranger, Lippert, Furrion, ASA, Magnedyne about these systems that will be coming into being either pre-installed options by the manufacturer or the dealer, and some aftermarket options. Lots of stuff that's coming out that we're tracking. Airstream probably has one of the most exciting ones that they pushed very solidly this fall with an integrated home automation system with an unlimited data plan that you can get from AT&T for $30 a month, which is pretty exciting to see them be able to negotiate that option. But probably our favorite one is Winnebago's approach to an integrated mobile internet solution, because one of the problems with all of this integrated solution is, what about as technology progresses and evolves, is how do you upgrade equipment? But Winnebago announces they're starting to now design in a tech cabinet into the RV with conduits run to the roof, so you can run whatever antennas and equipment you want to your working spaces in your RV, so that it's very upgradable into the future. It's been a while since we've seen a technological advancement in the Wi-Fi technology itself, that networking standards and protocols. And there are some changes and new standards being pushed out that were announced in 2018 that will become important in the years ahead. The first one is 802.11ax is coming. That is the next evolution from 802.11ac. And to make it even easier to understand all that techno mumbo jumbo, they are simplifying it and just going to be calling it Wi-Fi 6. A major benefit of that one is it's going to work better when you're in a Wi-Fi congested area. It's not quite ready yet. You're going to start to see some routers come out with it, but it'll probably be a lot longer before the mobile routers that a lot of us utilize support it. But definitely keep that in mind in your equipment purchases going forward. The other advancement coming is WPA3. That's the security protocols around logging into Wi-Fi networks and encrypting your password. So there's some new encryption coming up, and what WPA3 is going to make it even safer to connect to public Wi-Fi networks. That's also a new feature that'll kind of roll out hand in hand with Wi-Fi 6. So something to keep an eye on, again, in future router and equipment purchases, to make sure that you're supported for future-proofing going forward.
Now, the third primary way that people stay connected when on the go, other than cellular and Wi-Fi, is satellite. And satellite is exciting for one primary reason, in that it works everywhere you've got a view of the sky. Well, progress is being made. I'm going to give you a quick update on all the major players working on next generation satellites. First off is Iridium. The Iridium Next constellation, the original Iridium constellation, powers a lot of these messaging systems. They have 66 satellites in orbit, and they have been working over the past 2 years to replace all 66 of those with new Iridium Next satellites, and we're just now days away from the final launch of upgrading all of that system. Once the full Iridium Next system is in place, they'll be able to start rolling out more interesting data-centric services, perhaps be able to take satellite messengers from the era of text messaging to maybe posting photos, and maybe having a few basic, another higher tier of messaging services. Be exciting, but that's still kind of old technology. When you jump ahead to true next generation networks, these are systems that are planning to deploy massive amounts of satellites at low Earth orbit and very low Earth orbit that will be able to bring sub 25 millisecond latencies and broadband speeds anywhere on Earth. Now, SpaceX has been getting a lot of attention with their audacious plans, because they this past year got FCC approval to launch 4,425 satellites into their first phase of their network, and then an additional over 7,000 satellites at very low Earth orbit, just 200 miles overhead, to blanket the world with broadband coverage. Wow, that's exciting. In early 2018, SpaceX launched the first 2 prototypes to kind of prove their satellites work, and sometime later in 2019, hopefully they'll start actually launching these many thousands of satellites. Maybe in 2020, we'll start to see service come from them. Another big global massive satellite system going online is OneWeb. They're going to have, I believe, 700-800 satellites in their constellation, and they're in active production right now. They haven't launched any prototypes, but they're actually jumping straight ahead to launching their network, and will have their first launch coming in February. So
now, running the Mobile Internet Resource Center is our full-time job, made possible by our premium members. Now, at the beginning of 2018, we released the 5th edition of our Mobile Internet Handbook. This is what started this all about 5 years ago. And it's now more of a primer, an introduction to the mobile internet challenges, and an overview of the basic options. This is for a limited time through the middle of this month. We are offering the PDF ebook version of this book for free. You can get more information on that at rvmobileinternet.com/book. Go over there, sign up for our free newsletter. We've had a lot of changes on the website in the last year, and we have a lot of changes coming. The book has kind of just an introduction to the topics, then all that stuff that changes all the time, and the stuff changes all the time, is kept updated in our more in-depth guides that go deeper into the specific products and options that are out there. Our staff has been hard at work all year long, keeping that all updated, and most of our major guides got a total refresh in the last few months. What we are working on right now is a total redesign to the website. It's getting a new look and feel, but we're also carefully going through each of the sections in our website. We now have over 1,000 unique pages of articles, guides, and product overviews. Is getting a complete rethinking of how we approach it, and so that should be coming online hopefully in the next month or two.
Thank you so much for joining us for our look back at 2018 and our look forward into 2019. 2019 in particular looks to be a very exciting year.
We'll be keeping on our toes, our staff and us, keeping on top of all the news and developments that will be coming up. And none of this would be possible without the support of our premium members. We are primarily funded by our memberships. We have no third-party advertising. We are not incentivized to sell you gear or plans you might not need. And we are not sponsored.
Yeah, so we'd rather serve our members and help you save money and help you find the things that really fit you. I would say see you next year, but you're going to actually see a lot of us because this industry is constantly changing. There's constant news, constant things happening, and we'll be covering it every step of the way.
So thank you, and have a prosperous and bandwidth-filled 2019.